So, if you're an entrepreneur, you know this feeling. You've got this great idea, this spark, but the actual path from that moment of inspiration to a real, breathing, successful business, it can feel like you're staring at a giant, tangled knot. But what if there was a way to untangle it? What if you had a roadmap? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. Yeah, I'm guessing this hits pretty close to home for a lot of you. You're not just the founder. You're also the head of marketing, the customer support team, the product designer, the coffee maker, everything. It's exciting for sure, but it's also a one-way ticket to burnout. Without a system, all that incredible energy can just spiral into chaos. And that's really what it is, chaos. When you're just reacting, jumping from one fire to the next, you're not really building, you're just surviving. The whole idea behind disciplined entrepreneurship is that this chaos isn't something you just have to accept. It's a problem you can actually solve with a good plan. So, how do we make that happen? How do we get from that frantic juggling act to a place of real clarity? Well, it starts by trading in the chaos for a focused, step-by-step journey. You need a roadmap, and that is precisely what this framework is all about. And here it is. This is the 24-step roadmap at the heart of it all. At first glance, it might look complex, but it's actually beautifully simple. It's a path that guides you through the right questions at the right time. You start with the blue steps, figuring out who your customer is. Then you move to green. What can you do for them? Then purple. How do you actually get them? It's not about stifling your creativity. It's about giving it direction. Let's be really clear here. This is not a magic formula for overnight success. It's a discipline. It's a process, something you can learn and practice that forces you to be brutally honest and answer the toughest questions early on so you can build your business on a rock-solid foundation. And that entire journey, that whole map, it all starts right here. The first and honestly, the most important part, finding your customer. Notice what we're not talking about yet. We're not talking about your product, your tech, or your brilliant idea. Before you build a single thing, you have to answer the most fundamental question of all. Who is this for? Now, here's the first big mind shift, and it feels completely backwards at first. Your ambition is probably huge, right? You want to change the world. But step one, market segmentation, tells you to do the exact opposite, to start incredibly small. You brainstorm all the possibilities, and then you pick just one tiny, specific niche where you know you can win. This tiny niche gets a name. It's your beachhead market, which you can see here as step 2 on the map. The analogy is just perfect. Think about a military invasion. You don't try to conquer the whole country at once. No way. You secure one small strategic beachhead, dominate it, and then you expand from that position of strength. For a startup, that laser focus is everything. But a market is still just an abstract idea. It's not a person. So to make this truly real, the framework pushes you to get even more specific. We're not talking about vague categories like millennials who live in cities. No. Step 3 is about creating a super detailed profile of one single ideal end user. A persona so real they have a name, a backstory, and very specific problems that you can solve. And this is your North Star. This person is your target. After you nail down this persona in step 5, every single decision you make, every feature you consider, every marketing message you write, it's all for them. You know, when you try to build for everybody, you often end up building for nobody. But when you build for one specific person, you can create something they absolutely cannot live without. Okay, so you've done the hard work. You know exactly who you're serving with this incredible focus. Now, the roadmap naturally shifts from the customer to the product, because once you have that deep, almost obsessive understanding of your user and their problems, then, and only then, can you really start to figure out what to build for them. And you see, this simple idea of focusing on who before you focus on what is probably the biggest game changer here. You're not starting with some cool product idea you fell in love with. You're starting with an intimate knowledge of a real customer's pain. And this is exactly why that shift in thinking is so critical. I mean, the graveyard of failed startups is absolutely littered with amazing, beautifully engineered products that nobody ever wanted to actually pay for. The goal of this process is to make sure you don't end up there. So, how do you build smart? How do you avoid that trap? Well, if we jump ahead on our map to step 22, we find the answer. It's this crucial concept called the minimum viable business product, or MVBP.
And you really got to pay attention to that B for business. It changes everything.
See, this isn't just about building the minimum thing you can get away with. It's about building the absolute smallest, simplest version of your product that a customer will pull out their wallet and actually pay you for. That moment money changes hands is magical. It proves you've created real value, and it instantly creates a powerful feedback loop with a real paying customer.
All right, you've found a customer. You've built a product they're willing to pay for. Things are moving. But is it a real business? Can it last? The next phase of the roadmap is all about building the economic engine that will actually power your venture for the long haul.
To figure that out, the framework says you need to become obsessed with two key numbers. First, in step 17, there's the lifetime value of a customer, the LTV. And second, in step 19, you have the cost of customer acquisition, the COCA. Think of it like a scale. For a healthy business, the value a customer brings in has to be way, way higher than what you spent to get them. The entire financial health of your startup lives in the balance between these two numbers. And the ultimate prize for getting that balance right, it's reaching this amazing milestone called ramen profitability. I love this term. It's that moment when your business is making just enough cash to pay the bills and keep the lights on, to literally afford ramen noodles for dinner. You're not rich yet, but you're self-sufficient. And that means you control your own destiny. So as we zoom out from this whirlwind tour of the framework, it's really important to remember what this map is and what it isn't. This is your guide. It's your compass. It's not a rigid, unchangeable set of rules that you have to follow blindly. And that's really the core message I hope you take away today. Success in building a business isn't just about having a lightning bolt of genius. It's about the patient, methodical, and disciplined process of turning that idea into something real and sustainable. It is a craft, and it's a craft that you can learn. This framework gives you that map. It lays out the path, shows you where the dangers are, and highlights the key milestones along the way. But a map doesn't do you any good if it just sits on a shelf. You have to decide to take that first step. So the only real question left is, what's yours going to be? The map couldn't be clearer. It literally says start here. And it all begins with step 1, market segmentation. Brainstorming every single person you could possibly serve so you can narrow it down to the one you will serve first. Your whole journey begins not with an idea, but with a customer.